I think that's a good way to segue into our next topic, which is it's not really Jake Lucky, but Jake Lucky. He's so I don't I think me and you have both seen this, but Jake Lucky is one of the most prominent reporters in esports and gaming news. Does a lot of stories about indie games. A lot of people, a lot of content creators who are doing really unique and special things. And something he said earlier in the week, or actually, like 2 weeks ago, he was talking about LinkedIn, and he was talking about how LinkedIn has been his fastest growing platform for talking about esports and gaming stories, which to me, that's incredible. I mean, like you would think that either TikTok or Twitter or Reddit, even Reddit for that matter, would be faster than that. But no, it's LinkedIn. And I think that says a lot about what the direction of content creation can look like in the future of 2023, is that I think more creators should absolutely be using LinkedIn as a social media platform for their content. Obviously, you have to structure it in a way that relates back to the business aspect or the techniques and the strategies you use to grow as a content creator. But no one does it right now. There are very few YouTubers, content creators, influencers who utilize LinkedIn like that. And the thing is, because nobody uses it like that, the discoverability potential is massive.
Best way that I can kind of describe it is there was definitely a point in the 2012 time frame, like early 2010s, where Facebook had really started to pop off because it's a platform that allows multiple genres of content to be able to live.
Turn your ringer off, dude. Turn your vibration off.
Oh, my bad.
How do you do that?
I don't know. There we go.
Right,
no, that's turned the ringer on. There we go. Turn it off.
Perfect.
So anyways, very interesting for Lucky to say that that's his biggest platform that he's growing on, because I think we all have seen him transition and do TikToks. Again, my point that I was just making a moment ago is like the Facebook that time frame, because it had so many different options of media on the platform, there was a lot of massive growth. There's a lot of people still to this day. Corey Funk is one of them, for example, where like he makes reaction videos. He's one of the first reaction video guys. He has millions and millions of followers. And so if you look at LinkedIn is very much in a 2015, 2016 Facebook type of era where like videos are not the most prominent thing that you see on LinkedIn.
Right. It's text-based content. Yeah.
It's copyright. It's visual. It's a graphic. It's like that is so, I loved reading the newspaper, but it's like the newspaper's got nothing on like, the .com version of that, right? Because it's interactive. It'll automatically play or move on to the next thing for me. Some of the features that LinkedIn is started to use, or other platforms have started to use to make you auto engage and move on to the next thing. That's a huge advantage for you. And I also think that particular space is craving esports because they don't really know about it. They're just finding out about it now.
Right.
They've heard about it from their kids. They've heard about it in passing in a news outlet or online or something. And now it's like, okay, now I should really like pay attention to this. Especially I think, hearing that there was a company that obviously companies in the space that have IPO'd or that have been thinking of moving in that direction. People love to know about the future of money and the future of an industry, right? And so, I think that LinkedIn has a lot of potential. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I mean, we're already starting to see it, obviously with Jake Lucky, but also there's another prominent figure. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Danny Duncan.
Yeah, Danny.
So Danny Duncan,
a lot. You're right.
Danny Duncan is probably the smartest businessman or YouTuber or content creator who can do both at the same time and succeed really well. He's got his merchant Zoomies and Spencer's. He's got his own I think it's his own ice cream shop that he's opening up, or frozen yogurt or something like that. He's also got what's the other thing that he has? It's like a what is it? I mean, it doesn't matter, but he's one of the few YouTubers I see who's very frequent on LinkedIn making content for those business advertisers because he knows it's such an easy way to get and connect with someone who can sponsor him, who he can work with, who is a brand that he can trust because he knows the people and he knows their resume and he knows their experience through LinkedIn. And I think that's one of the biggest things that content creators don't do it. And I think it's actually because they just don't have that technical background, right? They're good entertainers, they're good gamers or hosts or whatever they do, but their business expertise is something that is lacking. And I think that's a universal trait of a lot of content creators. And so I think that when we see more influencers start to utilize LinkedIn like the way we were discussing it, I think that's when we'll really start to see like content creation kind of shoot off like a rocket because it'll be so easy for influencers to connect with brands. And that's one of the main ways of achieving revenue for your content, which I think is super important. So yeah, definitely LinkedIn. That is definitely the future along with short form content. Even putting your short form content on LinkedIn works, right? Because most videos are only going to be like a minute in length on LinkedIn. Otherwise, people are just going to scroll off of them, right? Yep. And so I think that adapting your content, so say you have a TikTok or something that talks about content creation or like how you grow your brand, you put that on LinkedIn, I guarantee you someone from another brand or a retailer or a partner is going to see that and be like, well, maybe we should keep that creator in mind. Maybe he knows what he's talking about, For sure. So I think that's the biggest thing to take away is LinkedIn needs to be tapped in by more creators.
And I'll put this as a hot take. And Danny, I hope you see this and you can correct me, but I'm going to be honest. I don't know that Danny does his LinkedIn posts. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit.
I doubt it.
I would say that it's probably somebody on his team that's doing social. Yeah. At least one or two people that are probably handling that responsibility for him.
Right.
But somebody like a Jake Lucky, that's all Jake. I got to give a shout out to Jake. Jake doesn't have a team of people that do his socials. He is the social team. Yeah. So, I mean, from that point of view, Jake is somebody who is really just like doing it all, and Danny is like you said, great businessman, which means he's assigning the best person for the job and delegating that task to them. And what they've done with making sure to shout out certain sponsors that they've worked with, shout out the brand opportunities that they've developed or the brand products that they've developed, services, etc. I think that's another person that's super winning and clearly has put LinkedIn as a priority. And the other thing that I would say that could be really valuable here to our audience is that another person that's looking, and I think it's pretty obvious that the LinkedIn space is let's call it like 35 to
it's a much older demographic
50,
for sure,
60 maybe at the older side of things. Facebook is another one where Facebook Reels is popping off right now. It's all Gary Vee wants to talk about is Facebook Reels. And the fact that that's a similar demographic, it is the number one holder of people between 50 and 70, right?
Right.
So if you wanted to lean a little bit more towards letting people know about what's going on with esports, but breaking it down to them and means that they would understand, maybe some 80s references, some 90s references.
Some pop culture from their time period.
Make it understandable to them, like whether that be memes of like teams and then rock metal bands next to them or grunge bands like FaZe and Nirvana sitting next to each other. Like if that's how you got to make people understand the opportunity, you got to just make those connections. But those demographics, believe it or not, are the ones that are craving this info because they've never had it. They didn't know it exists. They're finding out that there's a whole new pro league, sport league that they had no idea existed before. And so they're the ones that want the info. Go to those platforms. You will find success in getting those people as customers.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. So LinkedIn creators, do it. Otherwise, you're behind already. I promise you. I promise you.